also go across to Mr. Godrej. He joins us, the President of the Confederation of Indian Industry. Mr. Godrej, appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18. It was expected the government has won the vote on the FDI multi-brand retail motion moved by Sushma Swaraj in Parliament. In the Lok Sabha, the Rajya Sabha is another story, it's another matter. But as far as a signal is concerned, do you believe that this is a strong enough message, a strong enough signal, or the uncertainty will continue to persist?
No, I think this is a very strong signal. I think it's clear that the government has won the vote, and I think it will lead to more reforms. I think some of the pending reforms in Parliament, such as insurance and FDI in pension funds, will also go through, and I feel this will enable the government to take forward other even more important reforms like the goods and services tax. So I'm very happy to see that FDI in multi-brand retail has been approved by the Lok Sabha, and I feel this is an important turning point in the reform process in India, and hopefully this will lead to a strong GDP growth in 13-14 in our country.
You're saying that this is an important turning point, Mr. Godrej, but you know it is something that is not law just yet till the Rajya Sabha were to actually clear it. But an important point that you were talking about in terms of furthering the reform agenda and the reform push, do you believe that post this defeat, the BJP will actually stop playing hardball as well as far as other FDI-related proposals are concerned? You talk specifically about pension and insurance, where the standing committee led by Yashwant Sinha have stridently opposed the upping of the cap from 26% to 48%. Do you believe the BJP will now give up that resistance?
I do hope so. I think it's very important that political consensus be arrived at in taking the reform process forward. So I do hope so, and I expect it will happen that way.
Mr. Godrej, is your fear now that the BJP, which has been opposing the goods and services tax, and the negotiations haven't really gone very far because of opposition from states like Gujarat, etc., Madhya Pradesh, that the BJP will in fact now try and make it harder for the government to push through the goods and services tax?
I don't believe so, because already there has been some progress in the GST being implemented.
Mr. Godrej, if I can just ask you to hold on for 10 seconds, so the Prime Minister is speaking, we will have to go across, sir. Alright, unfortunately we haven't been able to listen in to what the Prime Minister had to say. Sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Godrej. Please continue.
No, I do feel that this will be a strong turning point, and I think I feel confident that the reform process will move faster now. And I don't think the GST will be opposed, because I think there is some understanding between the Finance Minister and the empowered committee chairman. So I do hope the GST will go through in 2013, yes.
Okay, if you heard the debate in Parliament, Mr. Godrej, from one opposition party to another, this sort of doomsday scenario being painted that if you actually allow FDI into multi-brand retail, it's going to be anti-poor, anti-farmer, anti-national, it's going to wipe out small retailers. Is it not the need of the hour for industry to actually step up its public relations exercise to spread the message as far as not just retail but the larger reform agenda is concerned? Industry must also now communicate and articulate how reforms can actually change and empower common Indians.
Industry has done a lot to do so, Shireen. We've been talking about the benefits of reform, and we must realize that politically sometimes this rhetoric does continue. You remember earlier we had a movement against computerization in banks, and typically it was thought that it would put people out of jobs. Now nobody even thinks against computerization in banks. So productivity improvements have always been opposed politically through history in the developed world, in the developing world, but I'm very glad that in our country good economic sense has prevailed.
Mr. Godrej, you know, this is a hypothetical situation still, because we actually haven't seen the discussion or the vote taking place in the Rajya Sabha. But, you know, what we are picking up from the corridors of power is that in the Lok Sabha, while the government was very, very comfortable and confident, in the Rajya Sabha, the picture may be different. If the situation in the Rajya Sabha will actually lead to a disruption, there's no vote, this cannot actually become law. What then will the message be to the world? Because you would have gone through this battle in the Lok Sabha, and this policy will still not be enacted into law because the upper house refuses to vote on it.
I don't want to comment on a hypothetical situation. Let's wait till the Rajya Sabha does vote on it. I do hope that even the Rajya Sabha passes